Greetings and welcome to the benefits of working together. My name is Gary Gilson and I'll be moderating this discussion for the next hour on the new strategic alliance between Novelle and Hewlett-Packard. We're very happy to have you here. We hope you'll find this program stimulating, and we'll invite you to go a little bit later over to our product fair where you can get your specific questions answered. Ever since this alliance was announced, there has been a very high level of interest in it in the trades, the business journals, and newspapers. And at a time when strategic alliances in business are so commonplace, you might wonder why this level of excitement about this alliance. Well, that's what we're here to explore and to get some answers to. And to provide those answers, we have representatives of both companies with us. I'd like to introduce them to you now. First, from Provo, Utah, and Novelle, here is Tyler Smith. Welcome, Tyler. And Tyler and I met recently in San Francisco as we began this tour of 17 cities in 7 weeks. And here's someone I've been working in several cities with recently from Hewlett-Packard in Boise, Idaho. Here's Jim Brusso. Gentlemen, have a seat. We're here to talk about why these two companies have formed this alliance, what the computing issues are that face information systems managers and department heads these days, how the Novelle HP solution addresses those issues, what's in their solution for you to benefit you today, and what working together can mean to you and your organization in the future. Now, all those things I just mentioned require expert knowledge. And before I turn to them, I'm just dying to tell you the best story I've ever heard about what it means to be an expert. A world-famous economist was being driven by his chauffeur to the latest in a series of very highly paid lectures. When halfway to the location, the chauffeur turns around and he says, "You know, boss, you've got it pretty easy. All you got to do is stand up for 40 minutes, say a few words, answer a few questions, they give you a fat check, and I drive you home." Well, the economist objected strenuously to that point of view. He said, "I had to study a long time and get a lot of experience in the field in order to know what to say when I get up there." The chauffeur said, "Hey, it's a piece of cake. I've heard you 35 or 40 times. I could do it standing on my head." The professor says, "Pull over." He said, "You and I are going to change outfits. I'm going to put on your chauffeur's uniform. You're going to put on my business suit, and if you're so smart, you go up and give the talk," which is exactly what happened. Chauffeur gave the speech, came through with flying colors, handled a few questions very nicely, and then he got a particular question of such technical sophistication that he not only didn't know the answer, he didn't understand the question. So he looks directly at his questioner and he says, "You know, sir, I'm shocked that in a group this savvy you could ask a question so elementary. I'm not going to answer it." He said, "That question is so elementary, I'm going to ask my chauffeur over there to come up here and answer it." I'm the chauffeur. Here are the experts. Let's get started. You ought to get to know them. Tyler, tell us about your experience with Novelle and a little bit about life in Provo.
Okay, I've been with Novelle for 3.5 years now. I started at Novelle as a market analyst. And one of the reasons I enjoy working at Novelle and am so committed to the company is that I believe we're one of the best at listening to our customers. I talk to a lot of customers as a market analyst. And in my new position as the product manager for information products, which includes the TIDB and NetWire, I plan to talk to a lot more customers to get their feedback and input in designing our products. I am stationed in Provo, Utah with Novelle. I've been there the whole time. Back in Utah waiting for my return is my wife and 2 young daughters.
Well, I'm sure that you're away here in a very good cause, so it's nice to have you with us. Jim, how about yourself?
Well, I've been with Hewlett-Packard for 15 years, and all 15 years that's been in Boise, Idaho. I'm currently the dealer channel manager for our NetWare printer products, working in the dealer channel. And most recently, our division has moved over from the direct channel, working on mainframe applications. And so it's very exciting and very interesting to be working in this networking environment in the dealer channel. I have 2 daughters, aged 12 and 14, and this year they're both in junior high school, and that's equally interesting and equally challenging.
Well, I think it's so challenging from what I learned from you this past weekend that before we get into the technical information that our guests came to listen to specifically, that you share with them the technical information that came out of your strategic alliance with the lab engineers in Boise, having to do with these 2 teenage girls and the telephone.
Yes. Well, I think not unlike many of the people here today, if you have teenagers, there's a lot of traffic on the phones. We thought, my wife and I thought it would be a good idea to get a dedicated phone line, and we did, and that worked nicely. But we still got a lot of phone calls before and after times that I thought were appropriate. And so I decided to hook up a switch that would turn their phone line on and off. And so I went into the lab. We have some excellent resources, electrical resources in the lab, and they were more than happy to help me with this project. And so with a few parts from Radio Shack, I was able to hook this up and crawled into the house, hooked it up, and the phone would turn off very nicely at 10 o'clock every evening, and it would not come on again until 7 o'clock in the morning. And that worked nice until junior high school started, when they now have to leave for school at 7 o'clock. And so they came to me and they said, would it be possible, because we've told them that the phone company had done this, would it be possible to call the phone company and have them rearrange the times to maybe start our phone line a little earlier? And I said, well, I can't guarantee anything, but I'll certainly talk to them for you. And so when they left for their soccer games that day, I crawled under the house and reset the timer, and now the phone's coming on at 6 and going off at 10 in the evening. So it's worked out very nicely.
Mm-hmm. These two offspring buy that?
Well, they do so far. They do so far.
But they're in junior high school?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, lots of luck.
Next year I'll have another story, I'm sure.
Okay. As we begin to talk about working together, let's first start with these, by listening to what these two companies bring to the table in terms of this alliance. Tyler?
Well, Novelle is a market-driven, technology-based company with the goal of helping our customers integrate information and resources across their company with leading technology products. We're the only vendor currently that allows you to integrate the most popular desktop systems with the most widely used mini and mainframe products without sacrificing functionality or speed.
How do you do that?
Well, with NetWare, our local area network operating system, there are currently over 600,000 networks running NetWare. More than 6 million users are using it. And also running on NetWare are more than 5,000 end-user applications from more than 2,000 vendors. NetWare truly has become an industry standard. Of the Fortune 1,000 companies using networks, 70% of them are using NetWare.
Mm-hmm. Jim, I've always thought of HP as a systems company. Is this interest of yours in PC network something new for you?
No, not at all, Gary. Hewlett-Packard's been in the PC market for over 10 years, and we currently have the broadest line of industry-standard PC hardware available in the market. But you're right about our systems experience, and it dates back to the early 70s when we introduced the HP 3000. Since that time, we've been a leading supplier of computer products to the Fortune 2000 customer base. We introduced our first workstation nearly a decade ago, and we are recognized as a premier supplier of computer peripherals and computer peripheral accessories to that same market. But with respect to our networking expertise, Hewlett-Packard is a pioneer in workstation networking. We currently supply 84 of the Fortune 100 with the hardware that they run their network operating systems on. And we own and operate the world's largest network, Internet, which links together literally hundreds of local area networks and in excess of 30,000 systems and mainframes.
Well, with that kind of experience of your own, you certainly understand the challenges that your customers are facing.
We certainly do, and we understand that environment if it's a small environment like a local area network, and we also understand the larger enterprise-wide networks. And it's important to understand that Hewlett-Packard's one of a very few vendors that will support the hardware and technology that you have in place today. You won't have to roll that hardware or technology to take advantage of the kinds of solutions that Tyler and I will be talking about today. We'll support what you have in place.
Tyler, why this alliance in the first place? Who's going to benefit from it?
Well, Novelle's charter from the beginning was to help grow the local area network industry. And we believe that this alliance will help us grow the industry and to grow Novelle. Also, we believe that the teaming up with HP is a natural. We both share the same network computing strategies.
What would be an example of that?
A good example would be that we both believe that the future of computing lies in standards, and we believe that we must provide a wide range of choices for our customers in building their networks. And we also believe and are very committed in helping our customers realize the value of enterprise-wide networking, and we're both working hard toward that.
You see, Gary, when you have compatible strategies like Novelle and Hewlett-Packard do, and you have established, proven track records in your marketplace like Novelle and Hewlett-Packard do, by working together, you bring to market a networking solution that will be very, very difficult to beat.
How does this alliance work?
Well, it works at a number of levels, but at the most basic level, we test our products together and we share a very wide range of technologies. In fact, many of our products are designed to work specifically in a Novelle environment. And that really is our long-term objective, to design and manufacture products that work in that Novelle environment. We do that through a variety of vehicles and linkages. The NetWare Ready program is one such program that we participate in. The Strategic Engineers Alliance program is another program that we participate in. And through vehicles like that, we establish the communication and the linkage necessary to design and manufacture that Novelle compatibility in. As you're probably aware, Hewlett-Packard is a member of the Portable Network Partners Association, and as a result of that very strategic linkage, we have introduced and will be supplying in the early part of 1991 a version of portable NetWare which runs on our HP 3000 MPE operating system. We're also one of only 6 vendors that are authorized to service and support all of Novelle's products, and as I said before, that's whether or not you're running on Hewlett-Packard equipment or equipment from any of a number of the major vendors in the market today.
Well, I can see how this alliance functions on a number of fronts, but let me challenge you. Let's picture an MIS manager, completely hassled, slaving until midnight. A departmental LAN has gone down. The only person in the department who understands it is on vacation. Let's extend that challenge to a user who is tearing her hair out because she has to wait 3 days for critical corporate data to come out to make a financial decision. How does your working together help those folks?
Well, from a network perspective, these two scenarios you've given are really part of the same problem. Two individuals or departments within a company unable to share resources or information. And while they're unfortunately quite common, these kinds of problems, they're also quite avoidable. By using a network, the problems in both scenarios can be solved.
So working together means more than Novelle and Hewlett-Packard working together. It also applies to MIS and the departments.
Yes, our customers tell us that the challenge of orchestrating and organizing all the resources and information in an organization is a particularly challenging one, but one that's certainly facilitated by a networking solution. And with a networking solution, customers, end users, and departments do actually work more closely together. So the answer to that question is yes.
And the department manager?
With the network, the MIS manager and department heads can share resources, information, and help to solve each other's problems. The MIS manager can extend his sphere of managing information systems and can offer or provide for the departmental users access to host data without sacrificing security.
And how about the department manager?
And the department manager is able to offload some critical support functions, and also he enjoys the direct access he receives from the corporate data and resources.
So again, it's more than working together, it's working smarter together.
I don't think there's anyone whose job couldn't go a little more smoothly, certainly mine. And the kinds of solutions that we're going to talk about will facilitate that. And those solutions are available not a year or two down the road, Gary, they're available today.
Okay, but before we talk about today, let's all look for a moment at the future. Everybody has an opinion about the future of computing. We're talking about immediate access to information from the desktop. We're talking about relational database managers that navigate across resources to deliver data without the user knowing where it's stored. Distributed processing, object management technology, enterprise-wide networking, client-server computing, all of those things. As you look at those, all of us are interested to find out what your company's vision of the future is.
Well, Novelle's vision is that we see all the parts and pieces distributed throughout an organization or on a network, whether they're old or new, as one enormous computer. We call this configuration of hardware and software network computing.
And how does that work?
Well, in network computing, the network is transparent. It's hardware and protocol independent. It's easy to manage, standards-based, and with an open architecture to encourage developers to extend its functionality. The network is also fast, and because of the speed with which information can be shared across the company, the whole is much greater than the sum of its parts.
We share Novelle's vision of the future, but we call it something different. We call it new wave computing.
Why new wave?
Well, in the 80s, the PC brought the power of the mini to the desktop. In the 90s, we see a new wave of computer technology that will be differentiated in large part by the fact that it will respond more to the user's needs.
What impact will new wave have on the network?
Well, as technically complex as the network's going to have to be, it's very, very important that it be easy to install, easy to maintain and monitor, and most of all, easy to use. Users will have to have transparent, simple transparent access to all the resources and all the information on the network. And we see them gaining access in a symbolic environment from their workstations in what we call an object-oriented environment.
Okay, I think the vision is clear. Can you see anything possibly standing in the way of realizing that vision? And talk first from the point of view of the whole organization, and then from the point of view of MIS and departments.
The major organizational issue, as we see it, is one of integration. And the ability to integrate becomes increasingly more critical as companies move along the continuum from small PC work groups sharing data and peripherals to departmental work groups sharing databases, and finally to enterprise networks which have multiple hosts and perhaps remote sites out there that need access to information. And something that compounds this is that the fact that for many companies this progression isn't as clean as it sounds. They already have PC work groups out there in place. They have departmental work groups perhaps throughout the organization, and they have some version of these larger enterprise networks, and perhaps they have remote sites that need to dial in for access to corporate information.
So when you talk about integration, you're really talking about, for most companies, working with equipment that's already in place.
Yes, not to mention individuals with widely varying goals and some clearly defined attitudes about computing.
And in addition to integration, there are a number of operational issues. And please bear with me, Gary, as I tick through kind of a long list, but we think they're important, and as time permits, we'd like to discuss each of them in a little more detail. The first one, as I alluded to earlier, was productivity. We think individuals will need to be more productive, and networks will have to function more in terms of the needs of the user as opposed to the other way around. From a performance point of view, we have another issue. Users and networks will have to achieve higher levels of performance. For example, multiple simultaneous access to high-speed file servers. Manageability is a concern and an issue. We don't think networks are as easy to manage today, and for the most part, they're not managed from central locations. As more and more applications are moved down from minis and mainframes, there's a very real concern about the reliability of the hardware that those applications are running on. There's an equally legitimate concern about the security of that very sensitive information that resides on those PC networks. So both of those are issues. We don't think that the architecture of most networks is as open as we'd like to see it, or as standardized. And those proprietary architectures cause concern on the part of our customers that the investments that they make today might not be protected in the future as those proprietary solutions roll. So standardization and protecting the investment of our customers are both key critical issues. And finally, support is an issue. As you see more and more PC LANs coming on the scene, and they are more complex, there's a concern about being able to get the service and support that you'll need when and where you need it. So we certainly don't lack for issues.
What about from the departmental and MIS points of view, Tyler?
We believe that the department head is looking for better performance to increase productivity. He's looking for broader connectivity to enable him to share information, access to information. He's looking for centralized support for management and for maintenance of the network and for troubleshooting. And those are primarily the departmental issues.
And the MIS wants what?
MIS manager is looking for a central window from which to manage his network. He's looking for reliability and stability to assure that his users are able to accomplish the tasks which they need to do. He's looking for data security over critical data. He wants to take advantage of the processing power of the desktop PCs that are already out there. And of course, he wants to protect his investment in the systems he has in place. And of course, everyone wants to save money and to decrease the enormous applications development backlog.
And does the Novelle HP solution solve all of these problems that you just ticked off?
Well, we'd like to think so, but now may not be the time for hype. Let's just say that the HP Novelle solution provides a series of critical, cost-effective steps toward a cooperative computing environment. And we see our solution as optimizing the system resources for both MIS and department heads by integrating their worlds with leading technology products.
In other words, working together.
Yes, with a networking solution, MIS and user departments will achieve their objectives, and they'll do that efficiently and effectively. They'll share information, they'll share resources, and they'll save time and money while they're doing it because there will be a number of duplicate tasks which will be eliminated.
Eliminated how?
Well, we have a diagram here, and we'd like to walk through that with you.
Yeah, okay.
Well, of course, the solution for every company is unique. And the ones we'll look at here is just one such solution. and very simplified, and using mostly HP hardware. But the first look at the network here is of a MIS department with an IBM mainframe and an HP Mini running HP NetWare for the 3000. We have a Vectra PC running as a server with disk subsystems from HP, and a network control center, also a Vectra PC running network management utilities. The second view of the network is of an optional remote control center or support center with a PC as a controller, which enables MIS to perform all of their network control and network management functions remotely.
Jim, what do the departments look like in this configuration?
Well, they can be set up about any way you want, Gary. In the case of the marketing department, any number of workstations, but there is a sharing theme that occurs here. The first thing that the department will be sharing is networked versions of packages like spreadsheet applications and word processors. They'll also be sharing hardware. In this case, their network printer, and it's a LaserJet Series 3D. Over in the finance department, again, any number of workstation nodes on that network. What they're sharing in this case is a database application that houses not only the financial information for the department, but the financial information for the entire organization. And the hardware that they're sharing is HP's network mass storage system.
How does all this tie together?
Well, that's the beauty of it. It all ties together very, very simply using the phone wires. The MIS department, the remote support center, the marketing department, the finance department are all tied together using the phone wires and HP's EtherTwist hub and or bridge products.
And what does Novelle provide?
NetWare is the glue which holds everything together. You've got NetWare running in the departments. You've got NetWare running, HP NetWare running on a HP Mini, providing access to the mini computer information and resources. And then by using our communication services product, you tie everything to the mainframe.
Mm-hmm. And are all HP and Novelle products designed to work together?
You bet. By using these products, you can connect everyone in the organization, providing direct access between any 2 points without having to go through slow and expensive gateways between PC and mini computer environments.
So that makes the bottom line what?
Well, MIS now has a window into what's happening in the departments. And the departments have access to corporate data, whether that data is on a DEC, IBM, or HP mini computer, or a mainframe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we've seen the diagram. Let's get specific and tell everybody what each of your companies offers the customer who is looking to create a network computing system.
Novelle offers what we call our platform for integration.
What does that mean?
Our platform for integration is a wide range of NetWare, which is designed to address the needs of a wide range of environments and very specific needs. These will help to provide full connectivity wherever you are along that continuum we talked about, from a PC workgroup to an enterprise-wide network.
And what does HP offer?
Well, Hewlett-Packard offers the hardware, which is the other part of the equation to Novelle's very excellent operating system. And that hardware runs the range from the media, the hubs, the bridges, the workstations, the high-performance file servers, the mass storage devices, and the hard copy output devices, all working together with Novelle's excellent software to provide that solution that we think is so important. So, number one, we provide that hardware. Number two, we provide a variety of levels of service and support. And as I said before, that service and support is available to you as a customer, whether you're using HP equipment or equipment from any major vendor in the market. Plus, Hewlett-Packard has a particular perspective and commitment as a result of our systems experience. We really understand and are committed to multi-vendor networking. Like no other PC vendor in the market today, not IBM, not Compaq, Hewlett-Packard understands multi-vendor connectivity, and we're committed to it from the desktop to the glass house.
Mm-hmm. So you know what it takes to make a high-performance, reliable product that must function in a wide environment.
We certainly do. We understand the product, we understand that larger environment, and we understand that support and maintenance that's so essential to keep your enterprise-wide networking solution up and operating so that you'll be able to accomplish your objectives.
Okay, let's take you and Tyler back through that checklist of key concerns that you mentioned before: productivity and performance, manageability, reliability, standards, security, helping your customers protect their investment, and support. And let's start with productivity.
Well, the way we see it, the key role of any network is to make the users on the network more productive. to increase the volume and the quality of work which can be accomplished by an individual or by a corporation as a whole.
And how does Novelle respond to those challenges?
Well, we provide ease of use and seamless connectivity into all of our network products. For example, our NetWare for the HP 3000, you are provided with easy access to many computer resources and information. Also, with our communication services, you can run the communication service along with file print and database services in the same file server. And our NetWare name service allows users to access multiple servers with a single login and a single point of administration.
And how does HP address productivity, Jim, through its LAN solution?
Well, first of all, we provide access to the myriad of productivity tools that Novelle supplies in their operating system, but Hewlett-Packard's hardware provides a variety of productivity tools on their own. For example, the LaserJet LAN Connection allows you to locate your network printer where your users are, or for that matter, anywhere on the LAN that you choose as opposed to on your file server. This eliminates an awful lot of walking back and forth from where your users are to where your file server is. It also allows you, by putting the printer where your people are, to justify higher functionality products like the LaserJet 2000 or the LaserJet Series 3D, and to spread the cost of those products over a larger group of users. Our network mass storage system allows you to centralize critical files and to do unattended backup on those files.
Well, so right there is a gain in productivity for both MIS and departments.
Absolutely. And along that same line, both of those groups are able through our remote support center to log onto their network, monitor the traffic, and determine if and when they're having a problem. And these are all major productivity tools that Hewlett-Packard's hardware brings to the table. But a tool that we're particularly excited about is a tool called HP NewWave, which brings our vision of new wave computing to the desktop today.
Okay, what is HP NewWave?
Well, HP NewWave is a very powerful graphical user interface which is based on industry standard MS-DOS and greatly extends the capabilities of Windows 3.0. It brings that ease of use in a transparent fashion to the user today that accesses for all the resources and all the information on a network. In fact, in many cases, you're able to link together multiple tasks in a new wave environment and to include them under what we call a new wave agent.
Okay, would you give us some examples and explain how this works?
I'd be happy to. We've set up a demo, and I'd like to set that up for you so that you'll understand what you're seeing. We have set up a new wave agent to deal with a task that I think many of you are familiar with. It's a situation where a purchasing agent in your organization is responsible for periodically evaluating the level of inventory, and where there's some sort of a discrepancy against a standard stocking level, issue a purchase order and bring your inventory back in line. And we have put all of these operations under a new wave agent, and we'd like to demonstrate that for you now, and I'll talk you through it as we go. If we could key the demo. The first thing that will happen is the new wave agent will open an application on the purchasing agent's workstation and access a spreadsheet on that workstation which has the parts which he or she is responsible for, also the levels of minimum inventory that they're required to carry. The next thing the agent will do is go out to the departmental file server and query a database where actual levels of inventory are kept, and it will compare actual levels of inventory against recommended levels. Where there's a discrepancy, the new wave agent will open up a word processing package and bring a form letter into that word processing package, and this will become the basis for the purchase order that we're going to create. The agent will then go out to another database, in this case a Microsoft card file database with the names and addresses of supplying vendors. It will pull the name and address of the particular supplying vendor for the part that we're trying to order and put it into that form letter. As a matter of fact, the new wave agent will also calculate the amount of inventory that's necessary to bring your inventory back in line, and all of this is being done automatically by the new wave agent. As a matter of fact, Gary, as a final step, you could have your HP new wave agent fax this completed purchase order through your network to your supplying vendor, all in an attended or unattended fashion.
How about a network manager? Can a network manager use a new wave agent to automate network management tasks?
They certainly could, and they would be limited only by their creativity. But the kinds of applications that you would expect to find them executing with the new wave agent would be unattended backup or possibly accessing data from a remote site.
So users have ease of use and access the way you outlined it.
Absolutely, and Novelle and Hewlett-Packard are taking the next step toward our vision of new wave computing. We're working on a version of HP NewWave which will allow multiple users to share HP New Wave in a Novelle NetWare environment.
From the NetWare side, by combining HP New Wave with NetWare, you extend New Wave's object-oriented technology across the network, making access to the network much simpler than with either DOS or Windows 3.0.
So between the two of you, you offer a platform for integration and productivity tools for the new wave of computing.
Yes,
That's right.
Okay. Let's look now at performance. We just looked at productivity from the point of view of ease of use and seamless connectivity. Let's look at performance from the point of view of speed and throughput.
Well, NetWare is designed to bring data distributed across the network quickly and efficiently to the users and to provide high performance even under a heavy load. In our design of NetWare, we paid particular attention to those areas, those critical areas that affect performance. For example, we've added file caching features and other disk I/O features which enhance performance.
Well, Hewlett-Packard has learned a number of things as a systems vendor, and one of the things that we've learned is that a system, and a PC LAN as a system, is only as fast as its slowest part. And although there are a number of ways to address those potential bottlenecks, the optimum way is to identify them in the design phase and to design them out. Let me give you some examples. Our Vectra 486 ESA PC, we knew that was going to be a very, very powerful processing machine in the design phase. We also were aware that there would be a potential bottleneck for I/O. That's why we designed in high-performance disk and memory subsystems, and that's why we designed a 32-bit ESA bus to address those potential bottlenecks of I/O. In the case of our network mass storage system, that particular unit can house up to 3 gigabytes of information. The potential bottleneck here is the time that may take you to back that information up, and you must back that information up. That's why we've designed in an optional digital audio tape device, and we've interfaced it with a high-speed SCSI interface to address the time that it takes you to back that information up. And finally, we've designed bridges that actually learn which packets or messages to route to sub-portions of your network. What that does is it keeps local traffic local and allows your network to perform at its highest possible capability.
Earlier you said that networks are hard to manage. What did you mean by that, and what does the Novelle HP solution do to address that?
Well, from the Novelle, the network operating system side, the key manageability question as we see it is the growing complexity of the network and the need for many MIS managers to centralize much of this support. When a user has a problem out on the network, what's involved in diagnosing the problem and then finding an appropriate solution?
And that means without making that a full-time job for somebody.
Exactly.
Well,
Giving them full control without making it full-time. Well, we have several manageability features in NetWare. One would be our remote management facility, which allows an MIS manager to manage the network centrally or even from a client. Also, if you're using HP NetWare for the HP 3000, you can use the HP operating system management utilities to manage the network. And using our communication services, an MIS manager can dynamically configure our communication services on the fly. Bottom line is that MIS always has a pulse on what's happening on the network, and that taking the pulse, whether you're dynamically reconfiguring a communication server or just trying to troubleshoot, is as easy as going to a central site or even to a client. This allows you to leverage your most important resource, your people.
Yeah.
We're equally concerned at Hewlett-Packard about the amount of time that it takes the network administrator to do his or her job and to optimize the performance of that network. That's why we have designed our EtherTwist hubs to be easy to configure and easy to reconfigure if that's ever necessary. That's why we're promoting EtherTwist as a medium, because it's easy to install, relatively inexpensive, and in many cases, if you need to make a major reconfiguration to your network, your building is already wired or your facility is already wired because we're using your phone wires. Finally, we've given the network administrator access to our OpenView Hub Manager, which allows them to log on, monitor the status of their network, and in many cases determine problems even before they affect the performance of your network.
As networks get bigger and encompass more data, a key concern that gets more key is reliability. There was an article in Infinetics recently that said among Fortune 1000 companies, when there was a failure in a LAN, the average cost was $51,000 per hour. How does your solution address that one?
Well, simply by keeping the network up and running. Novelle is known for having the highest level of reliability in the industry, and we do that with reliability features such as system fault tolerance, which is built into all of our NetWare products. And it includes a battery of reliability features, including hotfix.